May I have your attention, please? The podcast World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment, is now on the air. May I have your attention, please? The podcast World Awakenings is now on the air.
This is World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with your host, Carl Gruber. World Awakenings is a podcast dedicated to opening your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to all things metaphysical and spiritual, and just how they play an all-important role in our daily life. So join Carl on this enlightening experience as he interviews metaphysical and spiritual experts to discuss, debate, and delve deeply into the hows and whys of this worldwide awakening.
Ready.
Are you destined for global impact and financial sovereignty by becoming a certified life coach? Well, Renee Marcoux's iHeart Academy, accelerated life coaching certification program, and business training will help you get there. This is a 6-month immersion program where you'll learn signature strategies to create a life you're in love with. Plus, you'll learn unique holistic coaching methods so you can get your clients' results fast. It's time for you to break free from corporate servitude and stop trading your precious time for money. At the iHeart Academy Life Coaching Program, you'll trailblaze with the top purpose-driven coaches in the Coaches Lounge and quantum leap past any limitations that are currently holding you back. By the end of this program, you'll not only have deeper knowledge to create a booming life coaching business, but you'll be able to take your coaching expertise to a whole new level. Take the first step towards becoming a confident, embodied, impactful life coach with this fun, interactive program. Renee Marcoux's iHeart Academy Life Coaching Certification Program. Register by April 30th and receive $6,000 off tuition. Click on the link below now. Hey, it's time for another awesome episode of the podcast World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment, with me, your host, Carl Gruber. Thank you for joining us here on this episode number 63. We'd love to have you subscribe to this channel. That way you won't ever miss a single episode of this show. Plus, it will be a big help in keeping this show going. So just click that subscribe button below right now. Well, we've had some absolutely amazing and engaging guests on the show over the last 3+ years, and our guest today's show here on the show keeps that string going. My guest today is Julie Smith from Vancouver Island, British Columbia. Julie is an incredible medium and channel with an ability to have many, many ascended masters, teachers, angels, saints, and more speak through her. And Julie, she's kind of been flying under the radar of the world's attention for quite a while, and as far as I know, this is one of the first podcasts she and her friends have been on. Amongst the people who know of and experienced her channeling, she is most known for having the well-known ascended master Seth speak through her. Yes, this is the same Seth that became known worldwide via his series of books he did in the 1970s with the channel Jane Roberts called the Seth Speaks series. So welcome to World Awakenings, Julie. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Carl. Pleasure to be here with you today.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you on. And, you know, just to let the people know, the viewers and listeners, I've done one-on-one sessions with Julie and Seth and a couple other masters and in groups, and it is just exciting. And like I mentioned earlier, Julie, you've kind of been flying. You have been flying under the radar of the world, and what your ability is to offer the world with these beautiful teachers coming through you. But before we bring Seth and the other teachers in, can you please tell us about yourself and how you discovered you had the ability to channel?
Well, I was fortunate enough to meet a quantum emotional healer back in the fall of 2017. And it was a life-changing event for me, turned my life 180 degrees around because I was just existing in a dark place before then. So along that journey of releasing so much negative energy, I chose to become a student of Rocky Krogfoss, to learn also how to become the art of being a quantum emotional healer. So that was going on in 2018. And during that year, towards the end of the year, in fall again, I had already learned, I had already connected to my spirit guides and was doing the mediumship. Question and answer, speak, hear and speak. But then I just spontaneously started channeling one time. I was channeling Seth for Rocky, and as I was repeating his words, his voice just came pouring through me. And it just was such an amazing thing. And then, I'd have fun with it, and with encouragement to say, okay, well, let's have a go. Let's see if Saint Germain is around, or, and then Ashtar and whoever we were think to talk to. So in my, I've just been very, very fortunate that whether it was an archangel or an ascended master or someone else's spirit guides, I've always been answered. They've always come through me. So it has been, I don't know, an adventure, a wild ride. I'm very excited to see how much more there is, how many other beings I can channel. And I have channeled, other light beings as the Adama and Nikos from the hollow earth beneath us, Agartha. And just, I'm open to trying anything. I'm not too interested in doing the mediumship for our dearly departed at this time. But for the angelics, the light workers, the light beings, our star family, and ascended masters, it's a joy, and it feels really wonderful. Sorry. I was also listening to Cryon, for those who know him, who was talking about Lee Carroll's abilities and saying that the great thing is when you channel, you don't age. So I'm in.
I thought you looked younger.
Oh dear. Well, anyways, it's what you believe is what you get, the law of attraction. So I'm going to believe some good things about me.
I do want to ask you this a little bit more about you. So when you were a child or an adolescent or young adult, did you have any abilities like this, or were you able to sense things that others, or no?
I've always known there was a lot more going on in the world than we see, with our eyes. But no, I didn't have any abilities. I grew up as an Air Force brat, and my dad was not amenable to anything out of his military realm. And Mum was all about keeping Dad happy. So no, I didn't. But I guess I've always been empathetic and enjoyed, closer relationships with a few people rather than gadding about and being, having many acquaintances. I've always liked to go deeper into conversations and have real conversations with people. That's always been a part of me. But no, I didn't. I had no idea. So it's been a great adventure, because I didn't start this till I was 61. So.
And of course, you mentioned our friend Rocky Krogfoss earlier. Yes. Rocky has been a featured guest on this podcast, a year and a half ago, a quantum emotional healer. And, I love Rocky because he's a character and he's got a lot of good stuff going on. It's fun. So I do want to ask, you've done the mediumship, but would you classify yourself as right now as a clairvoyant or a channel or both?
My strength has always been clairsentience, the clear knowing. My clairvoyance is growing, and clairsentience is it's coming along. But it's just that calm, peaceful knowing something. When things come in with bells and whistles, it's not intuition. It's like instinct or a trigger from the memory. It's so just coming to terms with that. And the mediumship is to me, there may be other people with other, or better, description of it. To me, that was where I was the one asking spirit question, receiving their answer, giving the answer to the person. It wasn't that flow as channeling is. You're doing the same thing really, but it's all happening in real time, as it were. I just give up my vocal cords to them, and I remain aware of everything's being said, but I don't try and remember anything, because that's a brain function. Getting into the brain gets you out of deeper channeling. So
now, I'm glad you said that, because I was going to ask what happens to your consciousness when you're channeling. And so you remain aware. I've interviewed and talked to other trance channels, and they say they just like, they're out of the way. And when they come back, they have to watch the recording to see or find out what they talked about. So
yeah, so it's just I just feel I've done this before in other lives, and because it was not a conscious choice, it just started flowing through me, and I just went with it. And so the best way I can explain it is I just give up my voice to them and let them speak through me, and just quietly sit on the sidelines. And I consciously step out of my, remove my ego and personality in the moment. And, when my channel opens, I get out of the way and let them, and just trust and have faith that, I only connect through my spiritual practice, I only connect with beings, higher beings in their highest and best levels, so that, sorry, so that I don't get caught up in, the lower vibrational information. Because, the higher that I can reach, then the more profound and authentic the information that comes through, and more relevant. So that is my striving.
Well, with that being said, let's why don't we reach a little higher right now, and you grab a sip of your liquid there, and maybe we can bring in our friend Seth. So whenever you're ready, Seth, we await your arrival.
Good morning, Carl. This is Seth. Oh, goodness. How are you? That's better.
Seth, we meet again. I'm so grateful that you came back here to be on World Awakenings. I know my viewers and listeners are really, really, really excited. I know I am. So thank you so much for coming to be with us.
Oh, it is my pleasure. It is always a treat to talk to those that are interested in higher wisdom and where we're going.
That is awesome. So I would like to ask you this. And like I said, I know I've spoken to you a number of times before, but for my viewers and listeners, how would you like to be known? Are you an ascended master? Are you an angel? How would you like to be described, or is that even important?
Well, just for sake of interest, I am an ascended master. Ascended masters are beings, humans who have had lives on Earth, and they have ascended out of their physical cycle into spirit, as we all do whenever anybody passes. But if their consciousness has not elevated to a state where they no longer need to come back to Earth to learn life lessons, then they are still in the cycle of reincarnating. But now I could come back, and I may choose to do that, just as Saint Germain did. He had many lives after he ascended to come back and actually sow seeds for this great time, because Saint Germain is the Lord of the new and great golden age of Aquarius. So I could, but at this point, I'm very happy doing what I'm doing. Angels are created as angels, mostly. There were two that I know of. I think there are more coming in to experience life as a human, so that they can be more effective in helping people. But Metatron and Sandalphon were two that each had one single life on Earth. Other than that, most angels remain in the angelic realm and do their work from there. So that is the difference between ascended masters and archangels. We're all light beings, though, because we are all one, right? Made of the same energy, just in different forms with different intentions that changes the result that you feel.
Well, I find it interesting. I remember reading in the Seth Speaks books that you knew, I believe, Jane Roberts and I believe her husband in different lifetimes. I think back in the 1600s when you were a trader, fur trader, or I forget, in Europe. What lifetime did you experience where you achieve enlightenment and didn't have to come back into the body? What was the experience?
Yes, it is an experience, but it is also a choice, because people are so much more powerful, have so many more resources than you have been taught. But you can, when you feel it close, you can choose to stay and just not ascend. And then at some point, okay, it's time to go. And then choose to ascend. And there was that a lifetime that I chose. It was in, we forget these things because time is so irrelevant up here. Mm-hmm. But, and I've been up here for such a while. It was in the late 1800s. And I had a wonderful life in Europe. It was on the border of France and Spain. Somewhere there was France and Spain in there. And it wasn't so much that it was a very great life. I led a fairly quiet life of inner contemplation. So I wasn't much known around because I was led, like I say, mostly a solitary life, because I knew this was the life that I would ascend. And there are many things that we need to release, all the attachments that we make in our incarnations and bring with them into each successive incarnation until we deal with whatever that subject is and release all that baggage. So, and the baggage is also made up of attachments, not just unresolved feelings and emotions. Mm-hmm. It is attachments to time, places, people, and things even. There are always those who I wish I could be back in the 60s or whatever, or I wish I was living in Mexico again, or this sort of thing. And those attachments, those longings, they keep us stuck. They keep us from being in our now moments and moving on into being open to accepting the new that is coming. Mm-hmm. by our prejudices, if you like, our judgments that was much better than anything that can come. And so then they block all the wondrous things that are waiting for them. So attachments are a very big thing for people to release in these days. And Saint Germain's violet flames, violet living fire, violet consuming fire rather, or violet living flame, they're a wondrous way to release all kinds of attachments and negative emotions that are no longer serving people as they prepare to ascend into their fifth dimension. You can't get there while you're still dragging that big sack of unresolved crap on your backs. You see it? Because it holds you down, holds you back. And you need to free yourself, liberate yourself from all of that, and know that inside all is well in your world, and have faith in yourself. Because everybody that is on the planet now has had many lives and came in fully committed to moving into the fifth dimension themselves and helping all their brothers and sisters on the planet to come with them. That was the plan. But we have to finalize this duality game that we have been playing. And when it was begun, it was never meant to go as deep and as dark as it did go. The intention was never that way. But it certainly has played out to the nth degree. And so they are still here, even though their contract was up 2 years ago, December 21st, 2020. That ended the duality, the contract for the off-planet. I just call them dark ones, but there are varying degrees of the action that they were taking, the Dracos and the reptilians, that sort of thing. Their contract was up, but they literally had to be booted out, thanks to Ashtar and his Galactic Light Force. So they are all having such a good time living off humans' energy and life force, you see? And that is why the whole program of keeping people docile and passive, so that they will just sit there and allow their energy to be taken from them. And of course, nobody was aware of that. It has been such a long, slow growth that it just snuck in without people realizing or understanding, and they just took a little bit more, programmed everybody a little bit more, until we get to the place where we are now, faced with tyrannical despots who are trying desperately to hang on to their power and to keep using, like the human ones, the cabal and so forth. They are living on humans' energy and money. They're stealing both, and they don't want to give it up, of course. I mean, who would? But their time is up, and there are many ways that they are being stopped, that they are being neutralized, I guess is a better way of putting it, because their time is done, and they are overstaying their welcome. The trouble is no one can fault their intelligence, but there is no heart in them. There is no caring for anything except for what they want, which is money, power, energy, and to have their own way with nobody interfering. And so that is why they would like to see many, a very large proportion of the human population and be gone, because they are an interference. And when there's more of the people than there are of them, then they know there's a risk that when people finally say, okay, enough is enough, we're not going to obey. We're not going to listen to you. We are going to remember that we are divine, sovereign, and free children of Mother, Father, God. So, and just live our lives on our terms, we are going to start opening and remembering who we truly are with powers beyond measure. It's just, this has not been taught. In schools, children have been dumbed down for the most part, and the spiritual practices have just not been publicly and not been made aware in a very public way in any of the institutions. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, in much of what you've been speaking to, we're going to bring your friend Ashtar in a little bit and talk to him. But you mentioned a couple things that I'm really glad that you mentioned. Number one is humanity has, even in this day, has no clue on how much we've each been programmed since we were born, from tiny babies to march to the beat of the quote drummer. But the other thing was, you mentioned earlier that humans also have no idea their true inherent power as a divine being, and that we really can, well, as Abraham says, there's nothing he cannot be, do, or have, if we could realize that.
Well, part of the problem, of course, is that veil between this life and our memories and knowledge of all the wisdom that we have attained in past lives. Because, people choose to come down, people choose to incarnate on Earth because it is the fastest way to learn wisdom, to gain wisdom. And once you depart this world, the only thing you take with you is the wisdom that you have learned in it. No money, no houses, no fast cars, just your wisdom. That is the prize up on the other side of the veil. But if you think about it, if we had all come into this life knowing that we've lived hundreds or thousands of lives that we've done all this, been there, done that. Just how focused would we be on our purpose in this life? Because we choose to incarnate, we choose our purpose. So if we come in with a purpose to learn, say more compassion, then you're going to program for yourself through the parents that you choose and the siblings and the contracts that you make with other people to be in your life. You're going to have some hard times because that's how you learn compassion, forgiveness, all of that sort of thing. And if you knew, well, that's not much fun, I'll just go back home and try again another time. Like if we were aware of that this was really just an act in a very long play, we wouldn't be as invested in it. So this is why here on Earth we have free will. So we have free will to experience the full range of emotions that are possible, because it is through experiencing unpleasant things. That's where we learn. There's not a whole lot of learning going on from the good times. There's much enjoying and experiencing, and those are very valid and wonderful things. But the whole purpose of coming down here is to learn and expand our consciousnesses to ever higher degrees, to elevate vibrations. So because though all those gifts that we are sent down here with, we're sent down with a full box of intuitive gifts, but you have to earn the spiritual maturity to be able to wield those gifts. So it's like with every rung of the ladder you go up, there's another little goodie there waiting for you. There is more access to innate memories and wisdom that we have brought in specifically to help with the purpose for this lifetime. We don't bring all of it, all of our wisdom and everything in with us, but we certainly into a level that is between where you are now as a human and your complete memories and knowledge. That would be just too much to wade through each time. And so you pull in with each lifetime all that is relevant to what you want to attain in this lifetime through the purpose that you have chosen and through all the experiences that you have set up. See, then we come down into Earth. I'm doing this from my memories, from how it worked for me, come down onto Earth, and all that is forgotten, right? And so then we start, working through our lives. And as we have more experiences, as we gain wisdom, as we elevate, then we start remembering, oh, okay, yes. So when you meet people that you just feel like you've known them forever, chances are you have, and that they are here to bring you a message and remind you who you are. And that could be a good experience or a not so pleasant experience, because you make contracts with people, say, okay, if I haven't got to this point by my 20s, I want you to come in and remind me why I'm here. So we set these things up for good and bad. And I think probably by the time I'm hit 30, I'm going to be, I've chosen a pretty big subject to wade through here. I'm probably going to need some encouragement. So please come into me then and let us meet at that point, and we can help each other, some way. Because contracts often go two ways. You help me with this and I'll help you with that. But sometimes the contracts are not fulfilled. And sometimes just by happenstance, we fall into when we allow our intuition and our higher selves a chance to have some airspace within us. So that means letting the brain rest, because the brain sucks up so much oxygen from your inner team that is working to help you. Because nobody is alone. Just know that. You have a full inner team. You have your spirit guides. You have guardian angels that look after your physical safety. You're surrounded love and light. And recently, Saint Germain arranged to have, everybody has 3 new guardian angels to look after them, to help them. All people need to do if they have a concern, if they have a care, if they have a question, is just ask for help, and it will be given. when you sit quietly and open yourself to receiving the answer, because it won't come in a letter in the mail. When you get to that place where you're willing to acknowledge spirit is there in many forms with much help, then you need to start your meditation practice, whether that be through pure meditation or yoga or qigong or tai chi or whatever kind of quiet, slow, contemplative movements you wish to do. Then the answers will start to come. But you must be committed and persistent. Don't just sit down for 5 minutes, say, well, that didn't work, and throw it away. It takes practice and willingness.
Well, one more time before we bring in Ashtar, I have one more question for you, Seth. Isn't the ultimate goal here for those of us, whether we're humans or beings in different planets or galaxies, who perceive themselves as separate from all that isn't the ultimate goal for all of us to finally awaken and come home in total unity and oneness?
Well, absolutely. So let me talk just for a moment about the Big Bang. Many people think that the Big Bang was matter going out into the universe, which created the planets. The actual matter was very condensed, it's true, but it was the size of one little green pea. That's how much matter exploded. The universe and the multiverses, everything is all made up of the same thing, conscious energy, which is a neutral energy that is waiting for an intention. And so when we intend to incarnate, we pull in all the conscious energy and create it in different forms to make bone, muscle, and all that, blood and all that sort of thing. And everything you look at through your eyes is all made up of conscious energy, from rocks to feathers. It's all just vibrating at different frequencies with different intentions, which creates what you see. So it's very trippy. It's very hard to get your head around it, but that is the reality. And so people choose to create their reality. And everybody actually sees things slightly differently. You all say, oh, look, there's a rock, and you know it's a rock. But everybody's seeing a slightly different thing because every single person is unique, with unique experiences, unique memories, unique abilities. And God knows, God, the creator, whichever name you choose, the original source energy, knows everybody by name, recognizes each one and loves each one equally. I think I got a little off track. Can you repeat your question?
It was the ultimate goal for all beings, whether they're human or not, who perceive them as separate, is awakening into unity and oneness.
Well, indeed, because we are all one, no matter what size, no matter what shape, no matter what color, no matter what form, we are all made of the same energy, and we are all connected. We see ourselves as this human body, but our energy body can extend out for miles, but generally many feet. And so whenever you're walking amongst people, your spirits, energy bodies, emotional bodies are all intermingling and colliding. And so when you're walking through a crowd, it is wonderful to be giving love and light out, not from your own heart, but through the love and light that circles through you. Do you see? You don't, many women have a problem with giving their love away every day in the hopes of getting some back. But it is important to love oneself, to do self-care, to keep each one of you, keep your own love and light full, your batteries full in your central channel, which is this tube that runs from above your head to below your feet. This is your central channel of energy, and you have a torus that comes out from it. So if you can imagine an apple, you are the core, and this energy is constantly cycling through you and around you. And it is that energy bubble, if you like, that mixes and mingles with everyone. And they've also done many experiments with the Hadron Collider in CERN, where they split an atom, moved them 14 miles apart. And when they stimulated one, the other reacted instantaneously, sometimes just milliseconds before, actually, in exactly the same way. So it doesn't matter where you are in the universe. You are connected. And so then the whole idea of this ascension business, to elevating your vibrations, you can connect to higher and higher levels, more and more space through choice. You know, travel, astral traveling, all these different things. You don't have to have a lucid traveling experience to be able to connect. And this is how channeling works. Connect to spirit anywhere, anytime, any place, can pull it through the now, because everything is connected. And that is a huge concept to get one's mind around, because we have been taught with Darwin's theory of evolution and all these things that has been irrelevant science for eons, but that is what is being taught to keep people dumbed down so they don't get to be their own powerful selves, because then there's no controlling them. There is no form of tyranny that can touch you when you step into your own power and expand your consciousness. Do you see? That is where freedom lies, true freedom. But the thing is, when you get to that place, you're in a higher level. You don't get to be there without being in your heart. And so it is a very loving, compassionate way of life, full of gratitude. Gratitude is huge. It's like the grease that wheels, the oil that greases the wheels of spirituality, of the law of attraction. So what you give is what you receive. So when you give gratitude, you get good things back. Right? When you give anger, you get anger back. It's always a mirror image of what you give out is what you receive. So it's very important to become loving kindness with yourself and others, because what you say, what you think, what you feel, what you believe is what you get. So if you're having a tough time, nobody's doing it to you. You are attracting it to you with your negative talk, self-talk and outer talk. It doesn't, the law of attraction rules, there's no getting around it. Until once you get into that, and then you start softening, loving more, your life will change considerably. And then it feels so good. You think, why didn't I do this sooner? But you were never taught. So it is nobody's fault, you know, and there is no right, wrong, good or bad. You came here to experience, and so you need certain negative experiences in order for you to learn and gain that wisdom and to understand others more easily too, and know that behind every face is a story that how can you be aware of what they went through? And that if you knew, you would understand why they behave the way they do. So loving kindness, gentle compassion is the order of the day, but people are becoming more separated, more angry with each other, you know, more judgmental. We see this in so many ways, and that is programming. Comes through the TV, comes through your food, comes through the very air, because there are satellites up around the planet and below and on the planet that are sending out low vibrational frequencies, negative frequencies, to keep people down. So it takes an act of conscious willingness to block those and to choose your own level of frequency and living that life. So you can't just think, yes, I want this, and expect it to happen. You have to take steps to show, yes, I'm serious about this. So then step into your meditation, start eating more healthy food You see, give up the junk food, give up the high meat content, whatever feels good for your body. Not everybody, enjoys a whole food plant-based diet. And by I mean everybody. I mean your physical body is not. Some prefer more meat, some don't, in order for the body to work at its optimum. So everybody must feel and think for themselves, what is good? What do I need now? And feel, if something feels right, strongly but quietly, then explore that, because that is resonating with you. And what resonates is authentic for you, which would be totally different for many other people. So it's all about learning to respect our individuality, while also, and allowing for us to agree to disagree on different things, or just allowing for us all to be as we are. Because when we are all being who we are meant to be, we are all happier, healthier, more loving and kind. And how can that be a bad thing? If we were all the same, it would be like living in a world of robots. And that's not at all enjoyable. Diversity is magnificent when you can open up to being curious about other people and enjoying their point of view and saying, oh, I never thought about it like that. I can see that would be fun. Doesn't mean you have to change your own point of view, but you can expand to include a new point of view in your personality, in your choices.
Well, Seth, everything that you have been teaching and saying here is just absolutely beautiful, loving information. And in my mind, I have the ability to perhaps put myself in an objective, like in another person's view, and somebody who maybe never heard this stuff before is probably sitting there going, what? Wow. But even what I know, I'm sitting here doing the same thing, but I'm going in a different aspect. Oh, yeah, this is great. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for everything. I know we've been wanting to bring in your friend Ashtar. So thank you. It's been an honor to have you here, Seth. If you would be so kind to allow Ashtar to take the stage, and we'll chat with him. Thank you, my beautiful friend, Seth. Thank you.
You are so welcome. It has been my joy. And I have talked very quickly and put a lot out there. So I'm glad you've recorded it so people can listen a couple of times if they choose to. Much love to you, Carl. Thank you. Bless you. Namaste. Carl, this is Ashtar. How are you, dear friend?
Oh my gosh, I'm just so excited to have you back here with us. And Ashtar, the commander of the Starfleet watching over Earth. Ashtar, if I have your title wrong, if you'd be so kind to tell us what exactly is your job and what is your home galaxy and planet, and why are the people of the universe so interested in what's happening here on Earth? I know I just threw a lot at you, but we're excited to have you here. Thank you, Ashtar.
Yes, my full name is Ashtar Sharan, but I prefer just to be called Ashtar. And I am the commander of the Galactic Federation of Light Fleet. So I have a huge starship that is orbiting your planet and has been here for years. And many, many smaller ships that some come up and down to the planet. There are many light beings, your star family, walking amongst you, some looking as humans, and some lucky ones who are in accepting areas are able to look more like themselves. And we have been here for a time, and we are you from your future, because we have seen what has been going on planet Earth. And if things do not change, humans will be extinct in 60 years. And that would mean a lot of us would just disappear too. So, we wouldn't go on to have this wondrous life. I mean, many would, because not all beings are incarnated. But there would be some that would just, through the devastation of it, would choose not to incarnate again. And so the life cycles wouldn't continue to bring us where we are today. So we come here to help you out of the love of our hearts, because you are our brothers and sisters. And to us, it is so horrific what is being done to you on the planet that we could do nothing but come and help. But it is a win-win-win, because of course we also want to help you so that the human race can continue, move into the fifth dimension and carry on to be us, continue the lifetimes as they should. So, and it is all happening all at once, right here, right now. And everybody who is on the planet chose to be here for this great good cause. And so, so that is my job right now. Mm-hmm. But I'm also in charge. I come from Alpha Centauri, but I don't get to go home very often. I live on this starship that is huge.
Well, and it's 2,000 miles long, right? Is that what I heard? 2,000 miles long?
Exactly.
Wow, you must have a heck of a cloaking device.
Indeed we do. And it is all anti-gravitational and very much futuristic technology. But we have, it's like a whole planet living in here. We have different environments within the ship. We grow all our own food. We have different areas of weather. We have oceans, small ones, but like a beach. And we have all different things so that people are experiencing life as they would on a planet, but they can make choices. We also have holographic decks like they did on Star Trek. So if people are missing their home planet, they can go in and bring up a scene from there and relive and just help feed the part of them that was feeling a little lonely at the time. But there are thousands of people here from all different races, all different planets. It is very much like Star Trek in that regard. Gene Roddenberry was such a futurist and a visionary. So we live in peace and harmony, each playing to our strengths and each being grateful that we are doing that, because individually we could not create what we have up here, this very diverse and balanced, harmonious lifestyle, without the input from many different lifestyles and consciousnesses. So this is where I am, and I have been the ascension that is going on now. It is not just on Earth. The whole universe is designed to always grow and elevate, always. And Earth is stuck, has been. And so this is why there are millions of starships around your planet.
Wow.
The first layer is the Galactic Fleet, who has been removing the Dracos and the insectoids and all those who have been interfering with Earth. They were invited in by those who chose to take the dark path. And so, because it's free will, they were allowed to stay until their contract was up. So now Ashtar was able to step in and say, your time is up, and eject them from the planet by whatever means was necessary. And so now, unfortunately, what you're dealing with are the human ones who have free will too, but who are being a lot more stubborn. We had no idea it would take this long. We thought you'd all be in the fifth dimension already. And so we try not to use the word soon, because to us, it should have been done already. But they keep bringing up something new and finding a new way. And so it is like this huge quantum game of chess that is going on. Each time they move, we step in to block or to balance or to neutralize, and then they deke around behind us and try something else. And it is quite the game that is going on. But I will say that we are winning. The light has already won.
Mm.
There are so many energies in this universe. The fifth dimension, Earth, is already created. It's already there, just waiting for people to choose to elevate their own vibrational frequencies so that they can connect with it. So those people who are still watching mainstream media, who are still believing what the politicians are saying, their vibrations are being intentionally kept down, kept separated, keep everybody at home where all they can do is watch this TV, where they're being programmed and programmed and programmed on so many different levels. It's hard for them to step out. So have compassion for all your brothers and sisters that are lost in this soup, if you like, of forgetfulness, this amnesia. And so just give them more love, more light to help them remember who they really are, because they are being forcibly held down. And rejoice in yourself that you have awakened to who you really are. I mean, a small portion. You cannot have any real concept of how powerful you are, given that you are humans, because certain limitations have been placed upon you, as Seth was saying, so that you stay in the game, so that you continue to fulfill your purpose. Because any time you choose an incarnation, create a purpose, if you don't fulfill it in this lifetime, you have to come back and do it again. Although we must say, this event that is happening right now, where people are ascending to a new dimension while living in the same bodies, you're having your bodies changed from carbon-based structures to crystalline-based structures, because a carbon-based structure won't last for very long in the higher frequency of the fifth dimension. So this is why your bodies need to be upgraded. And this is why all this great, very, very intense energy is coming down from the great central sun. This is all awakening more and more strands of your DNA, because you are, the human body, as it were, hasn't changed for 2,000 years. And you used to live in the fifth dimension. But then when the choice was made, when the agreement was made to live this experience of duality, then you've slowly been brought down and down and down to the third dimension, very dense, very low level energies. And so all of those earlier lives have been forgotten. You were reduced to just 2 strands of DNA in your body, and your consciousness has been crimped, if you like. So all of this changes right now with the photons that we have finally come back into the photon belt, right? And so this is helping them to awaken more strands of your DNA, which will help you connect spiritually. So it is all about just allowing it to happen, allowing the changes. When you feel lightheaded, when you feel out of sorts, when you have aches and pains, don't say, oh, I have to go to the doctor and get a pill. That will keep you stuck. What you need to say is, I allow all the magnificent changes to flow through my being with grace and ease. I accept, and I'm thrilled to receive all the upgrades to my body and being, because change is not painful, but resistance to change is painful. So once you allow and agree, everything will flow more smoothly, and you won't have so many what they're calling ascension symptoms right now.
It's interesting that you mentioned, well, actually, I should go back and say, when I asked, why is Earth such a prime importance to those beings like you and your friends from around the universe? So the bottom line is, it finally registered in my brain, because I've heard you say this before, but this time it registered. If humans screw up this time, you cease to exist.
Well, some will. Some will. Our life would be different because all of the experiences from those people who would become extinct. I mean, their spirit goes on, but the continued experiences that would have happened, do you see, as the earth continues, they wouldn't happen. The life experiences, because when people just think of the years before extinction, life is getting grimmer and grimmer and grimmer if you go down that path. Mm-hmm. And so people are picking up more and more negativity. So the future lives then have to come back or go to another planet and have different experiences. And who knows what will happen along the way, but everything that we know will change. And, things are changing all the time. We're not aware of it. Just us who time travel from what we knew, we come back here. When we go back to the future, things will always be different because of the evolution of the spirits that have all fed into the mass conscious collective. Do you see? And so it's always a reflection in the now moment of everything that is fed into that. So having, especially this earth, this beautiful jewel, this planet of pure free will. There are other planets of free will, but not to the degree of this one. And the other thing is too, there are many more aggressive beings from other planets that would love to have control of this planet, because you sit at a crossroads of intersection of so many flight paths, that because there is a planet here, it interferes with their protocols that they must go through in order to go through a certain amount of space around this planet. And so it would make their lives easier. It's like, building a new freeway, just like what is that movie, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So there are seeds of truth in so many movies that were created. They were channeled in to give people a clue as to why there's so much activity around the earth.
Well, we are speaking to the commander of the Galactic Fleet, Ashtar, who is above Earth, taking care of humans and watching over us. And we are so appreciative. I am going to ask one more question, because I've heard you speak before. I'm really, really curious about this. I've heard you speak about the med beds on your ships. Can you explain what these are and how these med beds help humanity right now and how they work?
Well, these were something that we developed some point in between the knowledge that we have now and the knowledge that you've got on Earth. There was a juncture, because all kinds of new energy is going to blossom all over the planet Earth. So we have refined and refined and refined the technology, where what they are, if you imagine a tanning bed, but it's larger, and it is like a clear dome that goes over the top of people, and you lay in this very comfortable space, and it is sealed. The bed is sealed then. And what happens is every part of the body, actually this is a small thing, not a small thing, but a small aside. Royal Rife created a machine of frequencies where he learned, he discerned the perfect health vibration of every organ in the body. And he would target vibrations at someone. So they did an experiment in the University of Arizona, I believe. Anyway, it's not important where. He had 19 subjects with cancer. They were doing tests on alternative treatments. He had 19 cancer patients, and he healed all 19. The only one in that experimental experiment that they did with alternate energies, he was the only one that had a 100% success rating. And so what happened, it was growing, and then his machine, which had been developed and sent around the world, people were sent out to find and destroy them. And they, as many visionaries were, they had a smear campaign, is a word that you would recognize. And this wondrous man who could have helped so many, he died alone, an alcoholic, totally broken, knowing all the help he could have done, but he was not able to. But they did discover one of his machines, and it is now being changed to a different format, but the same basic energy behind it, the same idea and intention to help people to heal. It's called Spooky 2. Julie is showing me a picture, but you can find it on the internet. I have not looked into it very much to know the authenticity of it, but it is for each person to look into it if they choose. But anyway, so that was the beginning of it. And we have taken that idea. So when that science, we have taken that science, added many different forms of energy. So we can take people who are emotionally damaged, physically damaged, or a combination of both, which it usually is, into the med bed. And the vibration frequencies are sent through the bed to bring the body back into balance and harmony, to regrow limbs, to help people's emotional frequencies to come back into balance and to heal their body completely. But there is because in the future, when these med beds were made, we didn't have the kind of damage to the body because we are no longer a warring people, and we live a much more harmonious and intelligent life, if you like, in as much as we don't create things that are going to damage people. And so the med beds are learning how to heal physical trauma. It's very interesting, and they have a central intelligence, so that as one med bed learns, all the others learn. They're all joined. That how to best help people with a lot of physical trauma, or people in stage 4 cancer. We have to work backwards, and things with like diabetes, where their feet are going gangrenous and that sort of thing. Before we can even address that, we have to go back and heal digestive systems, pancreas. We have to heal all the things that were damaged that have led up to the final expression in the feet. Of course, there's damage everywhere else, but it's not as visible as it is in the lower legs and feet. And so the med beds are learning which frequencies to put through the body first. So they have got that all down now. They have had lots of experience. But people can come up, and what we do is we bring up their energy bodies when they're asleep. And we work through the energy body, which is then goes back home. And I mean, the silver cord keeps you attached. It's not like you're laying there dead while we're working on your energy body, because you have many levels. So we take one level. All your other energy bodies are still there. It's way too much science to get into here, but just know that it is a safe process. We have done it thousands of times. But what we have been doing, because people with a hangnail, they're not going to be invited in right away. We are helping the people. We helped all the children and the women from the tunnels who were so emotionally distraught. They were our priority for a while. And so we prioritize those who need most. So we ask those who have a real need, just call to me, say, Ashtar, please bring me out to your med bed. And then you may not, most people do not remember the experience of it, but allow for the good feelings, but know if you are still going to be angry, trash talk yourself, do the same things, eat all that terrible food that created the problem in the first place, your body is going to slowly react to that. So if you have a new lease on life, please respect that, cherish it, give great thanks, and then start eating better, because those addictions should be gone. But habits, the brain remembers the habits. So don't just eat out of habit. If you're feeling good, if you have asked to come to the medbed, then ask in the mornings, how am I feeling? What do I really want to eat today? I really think I'd like to go out for a long walk, and become more active, become more friendly to yourself and to others, and to choose to eat more whole food that has not been processed.
Well, I am the facilitator of a Power of 8 healing group online, and I have people from around the world in this group, and we are constantly doing healings of people, and I'm going to have you bring some of them up to their med bed, because I mean, from my perception, the whole world needs healing, and we basically talked about that, during this whole time here. And I just I want to ask one more thing, because we're going to wind down here.
Let me just say one thing. You cannot ask on someone else's behalf. They have to ask. This is free will, remember. They have to ask. Okay, carry on.
Yeah, excellent point. Yeah. What was the name of that man at University of Arizona that created a healing machine?
Raymond Royal Rife. R-I-F-E. F for Frank, E.
Okay. Interesting. And I have to look.
Fascinating man. Absolutely.
My gosh, we have been speaking to our friend Julie Smith, who has been gracious enough to bring these beautiful beings, Seth and Ashtar, through to us today. Ashtar, thank you. Thank you for taking care of us here. We love you so much. Thank you for your beautiful work. And you've given me greater faith that there is hope for humanity. We know we're going to come through this and join you in 5D. Thank you so much.
Just know that it is already done. The light has won. It is just bringing that energy down into your physicality. So open to it, invite it. Think about that. Don't think about the bad things. Turn off your TVs. Get out and be with people and share your love. You will feel so much better for it. And thank you to all of you who are listening. Thank you to all of you who are doing that very thing, spreading your love and light to help humanity come in more quickly. We all love you very, very much. You are surrounded with love and joy. And we bid you namaste.
Namaste, friend. Namaste. Oh, there you are, Julie.
Here I am. Yes.
You came back.
Yes. I know sometimes I don't want to, because it just feels so good to feel that energy coming through me. It's like, oh, do I have to go back?
I'll tell you what.
To my own consciousness, I was enjoying theirs.
Phenomenal conversation with Seth and Ashtar. And just to let the viewers and listeners know, Julie and I attempted this about a month ago, but we had technical issues. So this was actually a retake. And you know what? I could see why it was purposeful. There was some beautiful she given here. And Julie, thank you again. Julie Smith, our channel today. Like I mentioned earlier in the introduction, that she's been flying under the radar. If people want to get a hold of you and perhaps do some one-on-one sessions with Seth and the other beautiful St. Germains and etc., how would they get a hold of you?
Through my email. I'm pretty old school still. I am, planning a website, but until then, it is Julie G S. So Julie G for George, S for Sam, 1929 at gmail.com.
At gmail.com. Well, I hope many people get a hold of you. And Julie, thank you. It's just such a joy chatting with you.
Thank you, Carl, for this opportunity to just experience what we just experienced. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
This has been another episode of World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with your host, Carl Gruber, a certified Law of Attraction life coach. We welcome you to tune in each and every episode of this podcast, World Awakenings, as we open your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that all of the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to the truth of all things metaphysical and spiritual, and just how they play an all-important role in our moment-to-moment everyday life. Much love and light to you, my friend. Thank you for tuning in.